Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan and thanks for joining us for our Monday weather update for April the 24th, the day before Anzac. Now we've got the forecast for any dawn ceremonies you might be attending on Tuesday and the outlook for the rest of the day. And we've also got the forecast through until Saturday. Now, interesting setup at the moment. As you can see, big high pressure zone in the Tasman, a cooler, windier day on the way for New Zealand and a colder night tonight for many places. However, 1 week from now, we'll be back to the subtropical winds all over again. And so we're in that time of year where it's sort of warm 1 week, cold the next, typical autumn setup. But what isn't typical is some of this warmth that we've been seeing. Even with the cold change coming in today, it's not going to be lingering very long. So high pressure, that is definitely the main feature. As you can see, it's driving in these southeasterly winds all the way up from Sydney to the top of the country. And further to the south, you've got a bit of a northerly flow here, and the next low pressure zone is way out to the west. But this is the main southerly really on the screen for today. So we've got a little bit of rain on the way for the next 2 days. At a glance, most of it's on the west coast, the southwestern corner down around Fiordland, and obviously into Southland as well. Those rainfall totals aren't huge, but up to 20, 25 millimetres maybe for some parts of Southland, and very little on the way for the North Island. Let's take a look at temperatures, the departure from normal. So in other words, how much warmer or cooler is it compared to average for this time of the year? So this is the daytime temperatures. As you can see, that southerly change definitely impacting the eastern side of the country more than the western side. But look at tonight. The dark blue means tonight will be 4 to 8 degrees cooler than what is normally recorded at this time of the year. So that will be a noticeable change after the very warm weather. And it was 20 degrees as the overnight low in Auckland on Saturday or Friday night, Saturday morning. So getting down to 7 to 9 degrees tonight, that's quite a bit cooler. And over in Australia, the rain mostly around the fringes. We're seeing that low pressure zone and the southerly driving in a bit of wet weather towards Western Australia, and it sort of skirts along the coastline there. A few downpours inland, but not very much. Heaviest rain that we can see is up there around Cairns and a little bit around Darwin. And that's, by the way, for the next 5 days ahead. So really the working week ahead. All right, let's get into the forecast. So here we are around about sunrise or just before sunrise on Tuesday morning for Anzac Day, and mostly dry across the country. A couple of showers just out here around the Mahia Peninsula, a bit of rain down around Fiordland, and there may be, just might be, a little light shower around Invercargill, but otherwise it is looking dry, and those westerly winds, they'll be picking up across the day. This is lunchtime for Anzac Day, and look at those big strong winds. So we might be seeing gale force winds developing around the lower South Island, and wet weather moves further up the west coast. Not a huge amount, but there is another cold front on the way. So while that high is enormous, by the time we get to the middle of the week, here is the second colder change of the week. So the temperatures drop again. Now, most of the cold weather is further out to the east. This airflow, when you track the origins, it's actually coming out of New South Wales and Victoria. So it's not especially cold, even though it is a southerly, that colder stuff further out to sea. But we will see another change coming through on Wednesday with a few showers and those windier conditions moving through. But by Thursday, in comes the high. And now the next feature is forming on the map. It's up here in the subtropics. This is the next low. We were talking about this last week. We are seeing it moving into New Zealand with a burst of wind and rain and warmer airflows as well. So as we get to the end of this week, high pressure is definitely the main feature for New Zealand. It's moved out of the Australian region now. You've still got the east to southeast winds though along that eastern coastline, and over here in comes that southerly moving in towards Adelaide as you go through the day. So this weekend, our final map, at least for, as the forecast is concerned, you can see here that low dropping out of the tropics and subtropics, and that will drive in this northeasterly, which is up from around Samoa and Fiji and Tonga, and it'll be dropping that down towards New Zealand. So things are about to warm up after this week's sort of reset. But as you saw with the departure from normal, even with the colder change today, at least half the country is not colder than average. It's just bang on normal for this time of the year. So let's have a look at the 2 Mondays. This is today with the big southerly change coming up and across the country. And 1 week from now, there's that low and that airflow coming out of the subtropics and down and across both main islands. So typical autumn weather. I said it in a tweet today. Summer's the hot tap, winter's the cold tap, and autumn, it's a mixture of both. That's all from me. We're not here on Tuesday, but we are back again on Wednesday. We'll see you then.